Hello, and welcome to another episode of Any Thoughts.
Today we have been asked to discuss wedding planning.
We've decided to make this a two-part mini-series. So today we'll be talking about 12 months of wedding planning, and the next time we will talk about the countdown to the wedding day,
Right.
like from a week.
Right. So remember, today we are discussing 12 months to a week before the wedding. So let's get started. This topic really brings back some bad and stressful memories, but I guess there were some good memories in there as well.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of stress, but ours is over now. Ours is behind us, so we can give some good, helpful tips to our viewers to maybe help reduce some of their stress.
Okay, well that sounds good. Now, we have actually pulled our information off of a website that we're going to have somewhere here on the screen.
TheKnot.com.
Basically, we provided the website for you guys because we're not going to use all of it. It's a gigantic list.
Right.
So we've basically just pulled out the ones that we feel are the most important, and we're going to talk about some of them. So without further ado, I'm going to read the list to you. All right, so starting out with 12 months, you're going to draw up a budget, assemble your planning team, and consider getting a wedding consultant. You're going to pick a wedding date and time. You're going to look for and book ceremony sites and reception sites. You're going to ask your friends and your relatives to be in the wedding.
Right.
Okay?
8 to 10 months?
Yep, 8 to 10 months before. The bride, you need to think about, shop for, and go ahead and order your wedding gown. You need to decide what type of entertainment you want, be it a pianist, a violinist, whatever. Then you need to think about your floral decor. You need to research and book your wedding professionals. That means people like your photographers and your videographers. And you need to register for gifts. Okay?
So now, 6 to 8 months?
6 to 8 months. Let's
All
talk
right.
about that. You need to order bridesmaids' dresses, start planning your honeymoon, send save the date cards, attend pre-wedding counseling if that's required, shop for and order invitations and wedding rings, right? 3 months before.
Okay.
Order wedding cake,
Right.
attend your wedding shower. Now the groom at this point needs to either rent or buy his wedding attire.
Well, not just his, but
right.
the groomsman.
Then you need to hire, if you want to, this isn't required, but if you want somebody like a limousine driver to drive you to your wedding or whatever, you need to go ahead and book this 3 months before.
Right.
All right, now we're going to talk about 1 to 2 months before. You need to mail your invitations. You need to write your vows. If you want to do that, we didn't do that.
No.
You
I
can.
wanted to. She didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't like to cry, so I was.
Well, then
to
she
do
cried
that.
anyways. So.
Yeah, then I did anyway. Purchase gifts for your parents, your attendants, and for each other.
Right.
Book your hairstylist and your makeup artist. Apply for marriage license. That's really important, you guys. The bride, you need to have your final gown fitting. Then call your bridesmaids and make sure everything is ready for the wedding day. Make last-minute adjustments with your vendors. Create a wedding program that you're going to hand out to your guest. All right, 2 weeks before.
All right.
Review your final RSVP list and call guests who have not yet sent back a response. Deliver a must-have shot list to your photographer and your videographers.
Right.
Deliver your final song list to your musicians. And, last but not least, the bride needs to get her last pre-wedding haircut and coloring if she needs to do that.
Right.
So,
Cover up that gray.
we're going to go, I hope not at my age. I don't need any gray.
Well, no, not your age, but maybe some of you.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we're going to
Now
talk
we're going to talk
about
about
some
some
of
of
it now.
them.
So, because while the list gives you, certain dates, when we were kind of going through this list and kind of picking out what we thought was important,
Mm-hmm.
we still thought that some of it wasn't necessarily in the right
It was kind of misaligned
order,
mm-hmm.
so to speak, because like at the 12-month or before mark, definitely, like, I mean, they hit it right on the nail on the head. You need to have a budget. That should be like one of the first things. You need to figure out, is this going to be a $50,000 wedding, or is this going to be a $5,000 wedding? What's my budget?
Mm-hmm.
For us, it was more towards that $5,000.
Yeah.
That's
But it was still a beautiful wedding.
And you can have a
gorgeous.
really nice wedding for a reasonable amount. You don't have to go crazy. I mean, a lot of people do. But then I'm like, what do they do for the honeymoon,
Well, let's prove it. Here are two of our wedding pictures for you guys. The first one is the actual the reception area, which we did.
Oh, right. We'll put that up on the screen.
Yeah, and here's our second one that we've got for you guys. Let me give it a second to change over. Okay, our second one is going to be the actual auditorium where we got married.
Right.
So, what do you guys think? I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I mean...
And it wasn't that expensive.
And, I mean, I don't remember exactly what our budget was,
mm-hmm.
because it was over a year ago, but, I mean, it was reasonable, And then, what was the other thing that I was saying that should have been back then? Oh, because in the 8 to 10 months before, it starts talking about how you need to think about your floral thing, mm-hmm. and you need to shop for the bride's gown. But really, I think when you drop the budget,
you need to think about all that.
There should be like initially there should be like 4 key things that you do probably. 1, drop a budget. 2, decide when and where you're getting married. 3 would be who's going to be in your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And 4th one would be what your like wedding theme / colors are.
Right.
So those are like the 4 key things that you need to do like right off the bat when you're like, okay, we're getting married, we're engaged now, let's plan a wedding.
Right.
So.
Because sometimes your colors, depending on what time of year it is, certain colors are hard to find. Like, right. For instance, it's hard to find yellow in the winter.
In the winter, right.
So if you have a yellow color, that's a spring color, and it's going to be next to impossible to find that.
But if you figure
it out... In a large quantity.
If you figure it out 12 months in advance, you'll be able to buy the yellow or whatever color is hard to find.
Right.
Like, it'll be easier to procure what you need.
Exactly.
That's the word of the day, procure.
That goes for your flowers and everything. Now, flowers are a little easier to find depending on where you're going to get them. If you're going to get them like silk flowers, which I've seen done, those are really pretty, but they're kind of pricey.
Oh, you know what? I forgot the 5th thing.
What?
Pray and consult your magic 8-ball.
Oh, yeah.
Should we get married? Is she the right one? Try again later.
Well, we're going to kind of tattle on ourselves. We actually started buying things for our wedding before 12 months.
Well, before we even got engaged.
Yeah, because we were very serious. Now, tell them how long we had been dating before we actually got engaged.
Almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Because we got engaged in June, and August was 3 years. So, yeah, almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
And then by the time we got married,
it was almost
4. And so now we're at almost 5.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that kind of gives you guys an idea of... We were very serious before we even got engaged. So that's just us. You don't have to do that. Some people like to plan their wedding in 6 months. That's up to you guys.
Some people like to plan in 3 months.
Yeah, so it's really up to the person, and that's how big you want your wedding to be, kind of. That has a lot
because
to
I
do
feel
with
like
it.
the bigger the wedding, the more time you need to plan.
And get everything.
Yeah, if you're going to have just a small, like, backyard wedding, I mean, there's not, like, a whole lot that's going to go into that. Because, I mean, you're still going to need to plan and have, make sure you got photographers and all that stuff. But, like, you don't necessarily need, it's not like, I don't know, it's not as overwhelming, maybe, would be the word I'm looking for, as, like the big churchy 300 plus people, in attendance kind of wedding. Where, if you got a small backyard that's like 30 people or something.
Or like
that's
were when we were discussing this earlier, you talked about like if you're doing a justice of the peace wedding,
right?
And you want to still have a ceremony, you can still have a small one.
Right. Yeah, because you can. I mean, I don't know if all justices of the peace do it, but I mean, there's other people out there that can marry you beside. Like, if you don't want to do
a full
wedding, like a pastor or rabbi or whatever religion you are, if you don't want to do like the traditional, or if you're no religion or whatever, you don't want to do the traditional in the church or synagogue or wherever kind of wedding, and you want to do a backyard or
in the park
or a beach or whatever, and you don't want like a man of God officiating or whatever, then you can have like a JOP or whatever do the ceremony. So, I mean, that's something else to kind of consider.
Right. Okay, let's see. What to talk about next?
So, the making sure that the theme of the wedding is a good thing. So, that, making sure that colors and all that. But also, going into the theme of the wedding is like the order of ceremony.
Right.
So like, are you gonna have people singing? Are you gonna have a pianist, like, are you gonna have like a band kind of thing? Because we had, what did we have?
Like a violinist, a
cellist, pianist, and a
flautist.
Yeah. A flauterist.
I couldn't remember.
A fluter.
And they were wonderful.
Yeah, they were awesome.
But here's the thing that we didn't think about beforehand, and you guys have the opportunity, because you're watching this video maybe before you plan your wedding.
Having someone sing or something.
Yeah, because we did we had music as the people walked down the aisle.
Right.
We had a video run before everybody it actually started, and we had what they call canned music during what we did a sand ceremony.
Right.
But other than that, we didn't really do anything. So as a total of how long it took to get to the stage and then back out, 15 minutes at max. Very short wedding.
I mean, everyone actually walking up on the stage included, and then everyone walking back off the stage didn't take long. But
everybody was rushed.
Everyone getting up, and then, so from the start to the part where we were I now pronounce you man and wife, and then we walked out. The whole thing.
15 minutes.
No. The ceremony portion was 15 minutes. But the walking in and all that, I mean, maybe 20 minutes. It was 5 minutes of walking in and stuff. But so had we have realized that was how long it was going to be, because I thought there was going to be more of the actual ceremony where the preachers, telling stuff. But that part was really fast, and it was choom, choom, choom.
Done.
And
you're
then
married.
it was here's your sand ceremony, do that, and then boom, and then it was done. And I'm whoa, wait, we're married already?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, because when it hit you after you walked out, you were it's over? Really? That was quick. Because even to us, it normally drags for the people that are in the wedding, but for us, it even seemed fast.
Really fast. And so, had we have realized that, we would have had somebody sing at the wedding, probably. Because I would have liked to have had somebody sing at the wedding. And maybe, I don't know what else we could have included, necessarily. But definitely at least somebody singing, because that would have extended it by at least, 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
Yeah, that's true.
So, that would have been kind of good.
Let's see. Now, asking your friends and your family to be part of the wedding party is another one that I wanted to talk about, because you need to know that things come up. We actually had some friends of ours who were supposed to be in the wedding, and they couldn't be,
right,
because one of them actually was supposed to be my maid of honor, and her boyfriend had to have surgery.
right.
Things happen.
Yeah, so we had to go through a couple
Ring bearers,
bridesmaids and a couple ring bearers.
Yep.
Because we had people who couldn't do it or whatever. So, and it's understandable because
Yeah.
I mean, people may say, "Oh yeah, we'll do it," because you ask them 12 months in advance.
And then all of a
but
sudden,
then things come up. They're like, "Oh well, we don't think we're gonna be able to make it, or we got this going on or that going on, or whatever."
Life happens.
So,
it happens. So just be prepared.
Yeah.
For something.
I mean,
something
hopefully
happen.
that doesn't happen to you guys. Hopefully everyone that you ask that you want to be in the wedding is able to be in the wedding. But
just
sometimes it happens, and that's something
right.
to consider. So, yeah, and I think in that 8 to 10 month gap, that's when you need to make sure that you have everyone that you need to, because I think later on it said book your musicians or whatever.
Yeah.
But that needs to happen before.
Right.
And the other thing that needs to happen before that I remember being mentioned is it said in the 6 to 8 month range, send save the date cards, and then it also says shop for and order wedding invitations. I remember that because I'm looking at it on the screen, even though you guys aren't, unless you went to the website, which I had previously put up there. But and then in the 2 month thing it said send your invitations. So I personally think that
when did you say send the invitations? 1 to 2 months?
No. Well, that's what it says.
That's what it says.
I say send the invitations
3 to 4 months. I agree with this.
And scrap the save the date cards.
Now that I can go either way.
Well, because think about it. Okay, I mean, cost. Because it's now what, like 50 cents to mail one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like to mail 2 things, it's going to cost you $1.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you're doing like, if you make your own invitations, it'll save you a little bit of money.
Now, if you have them made.
But if you order them or have them made or whatever, I mean, the cheapest we've seen them is like the pre-made ones that you can buy in the boxes at the store for like $20-$25 for like 30 of them.
Exactly. There's 30.
Yeah. So
you'll have to buy.
I mean, now if all you're inviting is 30 people,
that's fine.
Maybe that's fine. But I mean, if you're inviting like 300, you're gonna need 10 of those things,
and that's expensive.
$20 to $25 a pop.
Yeah, that gets pricey.
Plus, you're now mailing 300 items, so it's gonna cost you $150 to mail them.
Yeah, a lot of these times the invitations will be in the box, but not the envelopes.
Right.
So now you have to buy envelopes and stamps.
And your invitations won't come with the save the date cards.
That's right.
So then you gotta buy the save the date cards. You gotta buy the invitations. And then you're gonna need thank you cards. So I mean, I say skip all that. Make your own invitations. Send them 3 to 4 months in advance, and be done with it. Because then, you're sending them at a point where, and really I say 3 months is like perfect, because you're giving people enough time that they can get time off from work. They can plan to, if they got to come in from out of town or out of state or whatever, they can find a place to stay, things like that. And it's not so far in advance either that like they forget about it.
Right.
Because, at the 6 month mark, I mean, you send them a save the date card that's this big, the thing's going to get lost.
Thrown in the trash on accident.
So, like, and most people aren't going to save that stuff anyways, unless it's, like, family or real close friends, and they may put it in a scrapbook or something.
Right.
But, I mean, for the most part, that's going to be, like, they're going to take the invitation, if you don't make it, like, some big crazy invitation anyways, and hang it on the fridge probably and use that as their reminder. So
Right.
I say, yeah, just send the invitations at 3 months, make your own, save money. I'm all about saving money.
All right, now I want to talk about for a minute the bride's wedding dress.
Yeah, well, talk about the bride and the bridesmaids all together.
Okay, well, I'll do that. Brides and the bridesmaids' dresses.
But we need to give a shout out to somebody.
Yes, shout out to Miss Jane Ryder.
Yeah.
She actually, I say she made my wedding dress, but it was actually an old dress that I used for Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. And I had her remake the dress
and
for my wedding dress.
We'll put up a before.
Yeah. So here's the before.
Here before.
And
here's the after.
Here's after. Yeah.
So
you can see she put a ton of work into getting this changed, and she is a fantastic seamstress. So Jane, if you're watching out there, thank you. We can't thank you enough. But anyway. So, a lot of people, sorry, I need to move. A lot of people actually go out and they they go to stores and they buy their wedding dresses.
Right.
That's fine. There's lots of different boutiques. You can go buy them brand new, or you have some places that you can get them used, which saves you some money, like Dan likes to do. He likes to save money. In my case, mine was a used dress, but it was like, as you saw from the pictures, an old style, like, what do you want to call it, like 80s, 90s? I don't know, like an old school wedding dress with the puffy sleeves. Mm-hmm. And she transformed it into this beautiful, elegant, long-sleeved
the 1950s called They Want Their Dress Back.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it was great for the character I was portraying, but as my wedding dress, it would have looked terrible.
Right.
So, I can't thank you enough, Jane. Okay, now, bridesmaids. Those can be ranging from looking for the colors to actually what I did, because I had to. We were talking earlier about you can only find certain colors in certain seasons.
Right.
We used royal purple, kind of a similar color to what's behind me.
Right.
Because those are some of our flowers. Black, silver, and white. Those were our colors. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the dresses, I tried to get them in that royal purple. Well, those are kind of hard to find in certain seasons. So by the time some of my girls got their stuff, one of them could not get a dress.
Yep.
So I had to go get a completely different color.
Right.
And a completely different dress for her.
Yeah.
Which was not fun to find at the last minute.
Luckily, that was the
maid of honor.
So it kind of worked out. Mm-hmm. She stood out, but obviously not as much as the bride, because you want to make sure the bride stands out. So we had to kind of find something that wouldn't make her like more than the bride, because obviously the focus is the bride because it's her day.
Right.
Well, it's the bride and groom's day. Yeah, everyone always says it's the bride's day, but I mean the groom's in there. He's got to be included. It's his day too.
Yeah.
So, and that was the other thing too, because then we had to be like, okay, well, we want the best man
and the best man
to match the maid of honor, so
and the ring bearer.
Right. So then we had to make sure that the maid of honor and the best man, that their colors matched, and then that the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, that their stuff still matched, and then so
it gets complicated. It does.
So when you have stuff, and it was because we had stuff happen where we had a girl, and then we didn't have a girl, and then we had a girl. So that was that thing where we ended up having people flip flop, and by the time she was like, okay, I need to get the dress, then it wasn't available. And
exactly.
Stuff. So
yeah. So like we were saying, it may happen. It may not. We hope not. But if things happen,
right,
they happen.
So next thing, let's talk about the pre-wedding counseling.
Okay.
And then I think also, if you want to skip ahead on this thing.
Sure.
there where it talks about apply for your marriage license.
Gotcha.
Because it says to do it like 1 to 2 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
No, not now. Actually applying for the marriage license, yes.
It depends on what state you're in too.
No,
right?
Not necessarily, because pretty much all marriage licenses, licenses, whatever the word is, the plural for license. Anyways, pretty much all.
Okay, special boy.
So pretty much all marriage licenses are gonna require that you obtain them at least, I think it's like 48 hours in advance.
Right.
So you're gonna have to get it like 2 days in advance at the
least.
At the minimum.
Yeah.
So, but then you it also, you can't get it more than, I think it's like 30 or 60 days. I can't remember exactly. That's where you're going to want to look this up. And that's why I'm telling you that needs to happen before the 2-month mark. You need to research whatever state you're getting married in, the laws and the type of marriage, because some states have multiple types of marriage. Like the state we live in, you can get like just a plain Jane type marriage. And I don't think it's called a plain Jane marriage. It's called
a plain Jane marriage.
It's just called a marriage license. But then you can also get a covenant marriage license, which is what we got. And actually, the covenant marriage license requires the premarital counseling and all that stuff. So you're going to want to make sure that you research that before the 2-month mark. So you may not necessarily be able to apply for it until the 2-month mark,
right,
or even the 1-month mark, but you're going to want to research it way before you get to that point. I would suggest at least the 6-month mark.
Right.
So that way you make sure, that way you can work in whatever counseling you need, because the counseling is going to be up to, whoever's marrying you, if it's required at all. So, you're going to have to make sure you work that in, because some of them want to do it 6 months in advance. Mm-hmm. Some of them, like ours, want to do it, a month out or 2 months out. Mm-hmm. So, they want to do it closer to when the wedding's actually going to happen, rather than, further out while you're still, dealing with planning and stressing and whatever.
I've seen both. And actually, I'm going to mention this really quick. The person that I knew that had it 6 months out, the reason that the pastor wanted to do it 6 months out is because he likes to actually be involved in the helping of the planning, so it's not stressful on the bride and groom. Right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So.
Let's see.
The hairstyles.
Book. Now, this is in the 1 to 2 months. You need to book your hairstylist and your makeup artist. I did that. Sort of. Actually, funny story here. No, actually, it's funny now, but it wasn't before. Anyway, my makeup artist ended up being my maid of honor. Right. Thank you, sweet girl. You're wonderful. And actually, she painted this for us right behind us for our insignia that we had for our wedding. Yeah. Yes, we had an insignia. It's okay.
It was on all of our invitations and stuff.
But anyway, she ended up doing my makeup. She had to do her own makeup, and then she had to help the girls do theirs. And she was the maid of honor, so she had a lot of stress on her, poor girl. But it's like we said, things happen. We run out of people at the last minute. Yep. You have to depend on a lot of people.
But, I think it worked out, and, she's a really good friend.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not like you had somebody in the wedding that you're not going to remember.
Right.
So. And that's actually another key point that I want to make, is when you're asking these people to be in your wedding, it needs to be people who, 5-10 years down the road,
you're still going to be good.
You're still going to be, good friends. I mean,
especially your maid of honor.
Yeah.
Or your groomsman.
Or your best man. So.
Or I'm sorry. That's what I was trying to say. I said groomsman.
Duh. All right, one other thing that I want to talk about, and we may wrap this up after that, is in the 2-week before category, I disagree with them on this, the not.com and their where they put this in the list.
Right.
It says deliver your must-have shots to your videographer or photographer and your final song list to your musicians.
Yeah.
2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks.
That's
like,
not enough time.
Especially if the musicians have to like learn a song
and
that
practice.
they haven't played before.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
no.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the photos that you want, like, even that needs to be
at least
I'd say a month. And the song list should maybe even be more than a month, like 2 months, so that way
they have enough time.
You can get your musicians together, you can have them practice, you know, and you don't even have to necessarily get them together maybe until, you know, the 1 month out mark or whatever.
Right.
But individually they need to, like, you know, especially if it's a song that, like, I'm serious, like, because we had them play one that none of them had ever played it before.
Yeah, it's an anime song, and none
it's
of them listen to anime.
And, you know, we're big anime freaks if
Yep.
you've watched this channel for any amount of time. And, you know that, like, they didn't know any anime songs, so they had to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think we got it to him, what, a month and a half before, probably?
Yeah. And I didn't just give him sheet music, I gave him a track.
Right, we gave him the track, we gave him the sheet music, and we made sure that each instrument that we had their specific
own sheet music.
So, I mean, that's what you need to do, because while it is their job, and, you know, especially if you're paying them for
mm-hmm.
it, but you need to help them out too, because, I mean, like I said, if you're picking songs that they've never done, you can't just be like, hey, here's my song list, you got 2 weeks, be prepared.
Yeah, that's
then,
too much.
Then they're going to be like,
they're
okay,
stressed.
Okay, well, you know, maybe we're going to up the price you got to pay us for something, you know?
And then
so,
it may
like,
not sound like
you need to
want
help
it to
them
either.
out too, yeah. And it may be, if they can't learn it in 2 weeks, which I don't know who, you know, but whoever you're having for your musicians, I mean, give them the amount of time they need. And I would say 2 months would be
mm-hmm.
a good one for musicians. And then for your photographer and videographer, I'd say about a month, because, you know, they're going to need to figure out, you know, like, especially if it's at a venue that maybe they've never been to and maybe that you've never been to, like, say it's not at your home church or something.
It's at the park.
Yeah, it's at the park or something. Maybe they need to go to this park, check out the park,
or it's
figure
at a
out
casino
what
or
kind
something.
what kind of lighting it is, or what, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so that way they know how to prepare. Like, do I need, you know, certain flashes, or do I need certain lenses, things like that,
mm-hmm.
so that they can figure it out and prepare as well. And so I'd say a month before for that, and then
2 months.
2 months for the musicians.
Right. And I'm going to say something real quick, and then we're going to have to end this episode because we're almost out of time. First off, the photographers, you need to actually do like a practice run with them before the actual day.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not always going to, you know, be able to, you know, just get in there and take pictures because the lighting's not going to be right, or then, like he said, they need certain lenses or
mm-hmm.
whatever. Now, especially because I think you said before when we were discussing this that, you know, that happens all at the rehearsal, which is true.
Right. Yeah, the rehearsal.
That's true.
You're going to run through a lot of that stuff with them then, kind of, because the photographer should be at the rehearsal, because they're going to kind of get to see what the ceremony is going to be and where they need to position themselves in order to take the pictures in the, you know, list that you gave them of, these are the pictures that I want to have.
And then actually they help your people figure out where to stand and how to walk to get the pictures they need.
Hopefully they know how to walk.
No, but they have the slower walks for the
no,
whatever. Anyway, the ones that won't necessarily meet with you that I found out were the musicians.
Right. Yeah.
I actually had
they
to
didn't
meet.
want to come to the rehearsal.
Right. They wanted to
met
just
outside of the rehearsal.
Right. They just wanted to show up day up. So I asked them if we could meet up for our own little rehearsal. And it was a good thing that I did, because we found out that they couldn't hear each other.
Right, the mics
weren't set up right.
Correctly.
And then it's the main part was because the piano was too loud. But anyway,
Well, that's all we have time for today.
Don't forget to comment and subscribe if you like our video today.
Also, don't forget to check out our new episodes on the Sims 4 Let's Plays, our couples play as well as solo play, and possibly look forward to a couple more Let's Plays coming soon.
And a couple more playlists that we're planning on
doing.
doing.
A couple more playlists possibly featuring animals, because everybody loves animals.
So keep an eye out for that. So we will see you guys next time where we finish up our mini-series on weddings.
Until next time, take your time.
And don't stress. See you guys later.